The debauchery typical of the sexual revolution, which paved the way for erotic oversaturation, is ceasing to be a trend, eclipsed by another current of the opposite sign: voluntary celibacy and loss of interest in dating or living a life as a couple. At least that is what happens in certain regions of the planet, which does not seem to include Latin America. There, with romanticism on the surface and that lyricism of the type "celibacy is impossible, without you I'll kill myself," there seems to be no indication that sexual frequency is suffering among the population. Neither in Moscow. The latest survey, published at the end of last year, reflected that residents of almost all neighborhoods consider it necessary to have sex 2 or 3 times a week to be happy. In some areas of the Russian capital, the requirement rises to several times, or at least once, a day. A different situation seems to be observed in Western European countries and the United States, among other regions, where a decrease in the frequency of sexual activity has been detected in recent decades. Already in the early 2010s, American adults were having sex 9 times less per year than in the late 1990s. Sexual inappetence in figures. The sexual winter is more evident among young people. For 2018, 1 in 3 American men between the ages of 18 and 24 said they had not had sexual relations in the last year, determined another study, which analyzed these types of changes since 2009 and also traces a downward curve in the sexual life of women. Population. The downward trend in the number of Americans having sex at least once a week has also continued in recent years, falling to 33% in 2021, before showing a slight increase to 35% in 2022. Compared to 1989, when almost half the population admitted to indulging in carnal pleasures every week, the figures show a sharp decline, and the Institute of Family Studies, IFS, does not consider the recession over. Sexual. In France the situation is similar. The latest IFOP survey, published in February, showed that only 40% of those surveyed have sex once a week, compared to 60% 15 years ago. Among young people between 18 and 25 years old, more than 25% did not have sexual relations in an entire year, which is 5 times less than 20 years ago. For what is this? Among the reasons that explain why more and more people, especially in developed countries, are giving up sex and even opting for voluntary celibacy, social, cultural and technological changes, as well as economic factors, stand out. Greater equality of opportunity for women has reduced social pressure to have children or fit into traditional gender roles, while increased entertainment and leisure options have led to a change in focus for some. The rise of social media and dating apps has made the process of connecting with other people much easier, while increasing competition and expectations in relationships. The absence of the right to abortion in certain countries, together with the increasing cost of raising children, leads some people to rethink their sexual activity. Economic instability does not help to reverse the downward trend either, with uncertainty as a mitigating factor in the desire to live as a couple. Don't forget to subscribe. In this context, a recent advertising campaign for the dating app Bumble, centered on the slogan "A vow of celibacy is not the answer," was the subject of so much criticism that the company was forced to withdraw its controversial ads and offer public apologies. In a world fighting for respect and autonomy over our own bodies, it is appalling to see how a dating platform undermines women's choices, said American model Jordan Emanuel, who worked for Playboy and took a vow of celibacy during 1 year. Actress Julia Fox confessed to feeling better than ever during her 2.5 years of celibacy. "I feel like by intentionally getting into a heterosexual relationship, you're signing up for an unhealthy dynamic," she said in an interview with Elle last year. Although voluntary celibacy is not for everyone, after all, it can generate feelings of loneliness and isolation. Those who choose this pattern usually highlight the advantages of greater freedom and a feeling of control over their lives, as well as a reduction in stress and the anxiety that can accompany any relationship, allowing them to better focus on their goals, passions, and personal growth.